Welcome back to another RFP Rapid Fire podcast. I'm Mac Hutchinson. I have Pankaj Jain and Sabi Ghosh all the way from Pune, India, here live. And then, of course, Jerry Keogh in the great city of New York. You can see him right there live on the streets. It's great to see you four. I know we've been talking a lot about the last couple of weeks, development, product development, but also publishing being so important to whether it's anything that you're doing, whether you're building a new product, a new startup, or you have an expertise in an area in a field that you're trying to get more people to understand and get people to come to your space. So I think there's a lot of incredible things happening right now, and I think the added value to the Thinklyn Publishing House uh, is the big value that most publishing houses have, which is not only are we going to publish your book or your work in many different forms and many different mediums, but we're also going to market it. We're also going to get it in front of as many eyes as possible. And at our latest hackathon, and Jerry, you can speak to this. We had a great product development when it comes to one of our first apps and products taking advantage of AI, which is an outreach tool for sales, for marketing campaigns, and able to reach out to new prospects to land more accounts. And this is something that Thinklyn has kind of seamlessly build together with the Thinklyn Publishing House because I think it allows our people that we're publishing, our authors, to again dive into different audiences within their niche space. So it was a great development this weekend. We're already been testing this tool and validating this tool, and it's been extremely successful so far. But if you could just speak to how important that is, because for our publishing house to have now the ability to not just market but to outreach to new audiences and new readers is extremely important for us.
Well, first of all, it was a wonderful experience attending the both your workshops that were in Quebec City, and then going way up to the northern mountains there in Mount Saint Anne, where you held a hackathon. Such a brilliant concept of holding
Mm,
in an area that allowed you had a built-in Thinklyn tank for the innovation, and I witnessed. Of course, we witnessed the difficulties when you're running it, when you're coding a hackathon. For those who are not familiar with it, is you're coming to the sometimes some hackathons, they're real intense. You come in there with a concept generation, and within an XYZ days you're supposed to have what's called a GTM, go to the market. In this case, Thinklyn's a little bit more
hmm
sober on this, so they came in with a MVP, and the MVP was on there was a 4 to 5 day hackathon, long hours, and it really is. We reviewed here at the Author's Corner um, the AI agent marketing tool that you're developing for another SME client. Of course, the clients, all the confidential and IP were preserved for that client. But first of all, it really was it's a phenomenal process that you're building
mm,
these product lines is, and that's the beauty of the Thinklyn Publishing House. It's got its brother, sister, relative who is the Thinklyn developers, and great development team, great development utilization of the available technology. Now, how that affects us, we're the authors here on the Author's Corner every Thursday. Always look forward to it. As much as I look forward to coming back to the Jack when I've been away, I love coming back to my home city here. But one of the things I think is really sort of crucial is, for example, there's going to be a real intense book, two intense books that are going to be hitting the marketplace in the publishing house. Is the data, and right now, data is beyond. It's really beyond gold. It's like now the lifeblood of human interactions, but you got to be careful with that data. So the data book that is currently in review and writing and rewrites that Sabi Ghosh, author Sabi Ghosh, is having is really interested in this platform you have. It's one thing to write a book and get it published, but then the question's got to be marketed, right? So
yeah.
there are plenty of great books out there, but who knows about them? And then, of course, one of the things that I think anybody in this legal, I know I'm going to be dependent on Pankaj Jain. IP champion of the globe. And one of the things we saw in the hackathon, which we're going to be addressing on this, is when you utilize AI agents as development tools, which it's almost crazy not to do that. Then you have to deal with the intellectual property rights in the developments, especially when you hit like we hit in the hackathon some bugs or some problems that were there. So having the capability of developing is fantastic. Having the capability of having a book where Pankaj is going to talk about in his book. We've seen the manuscript, and it's a fantastic book that's going to address people like yourself. Because at the end of the day, not too many startups are going to have the luxury of a legal team. And one of the things that if you can't afford a lawyer, you've got to get the books that are being published, written by very, very esteemed global lawyers, Pankaj Jain and Sabi Ghosh. Learn about your data responsibilities. Learn about how when you're building on vibe coding, you are creating data. Learn about the fact that when you're out selling a book, you're creating data, and that's protected by varied laws that are on there. And you're going to get those from the book. Now, the question comes down to is you can have a great book like Sabi writes, and you have a great book like Pankaj is going to write. How does we talked about here at the Author's Corner a Business Insider article that talked about a young woman who was laid off while she was on vacation, an engineer, and then went through
Hmm.
back home after living. It's really very sad. 8 years as a young professional here in New York City. Had to go back to Taipei because of a combination of constricted geopolitical reasons. And these. So how does she get to see the book that now she is starting basically in this article a startup because there's no hirings out there.
Mm.
So she's now and she says in the article, I'm struggling with how to do this. Well, you know, you're going to have two great books out there. Now, how does she get to know that? How does she get to know that there's a wonderful book out there? I read the books, manuscripts. That's where your marketing tool that you're
Mm.
building into the publishing house will be very, very helpful because it's really going to get the people like this young woman. And
Yeah.
I've seen, your development team skills. We just reviewed them with respect to this another arm and how that's going to get Pankesh's message out there. If you can't fly to Pune and you can't pay the retainer that Pankesh deserves, if you can't fly to Pune and pay the retainer that an esteemed counsel, the trial attorney extraordinaire, Data King, Sabi Ghosh has. Well, then that's the beauty of these books. What your publishing house is doing is you're democratizing information for people like that young woman who had to return home after being chewed up and spit out here in Broadway.
100%, Jerry. I think that's the number one thing that I know the Thinklyn Publishing House and the company Thinklyn what we're trying to do is scale people's impact, scale your impact. And the big advantage that Thinklyn Publishing House has is exactly that, is marketing and sales and content. Whether it's with the Global Creative Center for content, whether that's with the Thinklyn Cadence with outreach. I mean, those are two massive things that I think a publishing house needs because like you said, we've said this so many times. You can have the greatest product, you can have the greatest book, the greatest amount of value out there, but if no one sees it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good the product is, how good the book is. So people need to be able to see it, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. And to your other point, which is I think super important for developers to understand that are watching this. I know there's a lot of people out there that are vibe coding right now. They're on Codex, they're on Claude, they're vibe coding away, and I say great for you. But the advantage that I had at the Thinklyn Hackathon, one of the biggest advantages to the Thinklyn Hackathon is that we had product counsel on campus. We had product counsel with us as we're developing these tools. And sometimes I forget how strategic and important and valuable that is. I think it's almost necessary for people that are vibe coding and building these tools that are trying to start their own startup. Because without product counsel, without these experts, without Jerry, without Pankaj Jain, without Sabi, without understanding how to navigate those waters, it's very, very difficult to go from concept generation to MVP to go to market. And so again, I think it's super important, and it goes again to that value of these books because that's exactly what we're talking about. That we're going to be publishing on Thinklyn Publishing House, and that we're going to be providing those classes and that curriculum in TIL Academy, and that starts with someone like Pankaj Jain. And Pankaj, I know were in the works of finally publishing your book, and it speaks exactly to that IP, how to protect yourself, what you know as you're developing all the different things when it comes to AI and taking advantage of AI, but to doing it in a safe way and doing it in a way where you're legally protected. Just talk a little bit about that because there's so many different pieces right now. But I think you got great insight to this because we did a demo recently, and you saw our cadence tool, and you of course we're working with you to publish your work on Thinklyn Publishing House. There's so many things that play here that are taking advantage of AI and using AI. In great ways, but there's a particular way that you have to do it, and thanks to you, we've been able to get these products to market.
Thank you, Mac. That's a great topic to discuss today because we've always been discussing about how IP is associated with different AI generated results. But today, while we are on the topic of hackathon, which is literally a combination of two words, hack and marathon. So it generally means that a group of uh, participants, they are required to develop some kind of a solution, maybe an IT solution, an AI solution, which is required to do within a short span of time or a short period of time by taking assistance of different tools, softwares that are available in the market. And while doing that, uh, generally it is more of skillful or creative prompts that are being used to generate the AI results by the participants in the process of hackathon. So because the time period is very short, it is probably the creative skills that are used to generate the prompts and get the AI results. But then there is hardly any time left to actually validate those AI results, to review the AI results and make substantial modifications of the AI results to claim proprietary or the IP ownership of the result, which is really, really important for us to claim copyright, over the result. So I think hackathon is good to generate a good product, but it needs to be subsequently validated and substantially, creative skills needs to go in reviewing the AI product and then coming out with your own proprietary solution. So it is, I think, hackathon and IP would really get combined only after the hackathon is over and there is a presentation of the solution. That solution is really modified substantially with the creative skills so that you can actually claim proprietary. So that's something which is there today from my side if you talk about IP and the result that we get from hackathon.
Yeah, that's a great point, Podcast, because I think people understand like the whole concept behind the hackathon really is you're able with the AI opportunities now, you're able to go from concept generation to build a product and build a prototype, go to market very quickly. But there's the other side of the coin, right? You're moving so fast one way, you also have other things pushing against it, which is what is legal counsel saying? What is the validation, the things that need to get validated first before you go to market? What is the marketplace even telling you? But I think if you do it the right way, those two things pushing against each other are going to land you in a very fine space and a very place where you actually need to be. It's about, I think, matching those two things head on, which is a really important thing. And I think for people that again are in this digital space, really, you got to read Pankash's book. You got to go to Thinklyn Publishing House. You got to go read Gerard's book about SMEs. You got to go read about Sabi's book that's about to come out as well. I mean, all these things are very important when you're developing because you need that pushback and you want to be the ones ahead of it. You don't want to be the ones finding out after you've released a product. Sabi, there's a lot of things at play here. We're in this exciting time because I think we're publishing a lot, we're producing a lot, we're developing a lot, and the pace is getting quicker because I think with AI we've gotten better at developing at least at our company Thinklyn as well. But with SKJ, I think there's a lot of things here. What is your I just want to hear your thoughts on everything that's going on. I think with our development team and then with your incredible team over there in Pune, India, this has been a huge success, and we're really excited about where it's going.
Thanks, Mac. And I heard the esteemed speaker on this panel. So my thought is very simple. If I put the hackathon in the perspective of your publishing house, it's a collaborative effort, and what we have is a collaborative effort. Now, to take an example, if a young businessman wants to start a business from US to India, he will read Jerry's book, How the Outsourcing to be Done. Now, what is to be outsourced and business to be done? He will read Gerald's book. It is on FMCG. That, yeah, this is the great market. Now, if he had to have market intelligence, he will read Sabi Ghosh's book to get the the digital information. Now, once he starts his business in India, he needs protection of his business through IPR, and he will read Mr. Pankaj Jain's book. So one can see that under one roof, a person, a new businessman, will get all the support rather than moving from one website to other website for getting to start a business, nature of business, how to start a business, and again to how to protect the business there. So it's in literally, I think we have a hackathon in ourselves within the publishing house where through the collaborative effort, we are having 4 books or 5 books and all are complementing each other and all are helping the new businessman that we are focusing in. Secondly, how many of these books, as Jerry said, see the day of the light in the picture? Now here, because all the books are going to complement each other, every book is unputdownable. No one can escape reading one book because that will be the losing jigsaw in a puzzle in a jigsaw. So everyone will be attracted to each one of the books and read to understand the total gamut how to start an outsourcing business here in India. Now, so far as India is concerned, yes, SKJ Juris is absolutely glad and they are absolutely enthusiastic to help anyone and everyone who wants to have a support in any form, whether it's our Global Capability Center, GCC, or in the captive, or in the mere outsourcing, or to have a subsidiary in India. SKJ Juris is always there to help them out in every sort, including getting the work done, getting the permissions, getting the compliance done, and getting the business structure, the real estate, and filing the taxes until they get their share of the money outside of India. The SKJ will always be there to help them. So thanks to Thinklyn Publishing House, it is a great platform. It's always go from strength to strength starting from now. And my best wishes to Thinklyn Publishing House.
I appreciate that, Sabi. I know, SKJ is that ultimate global one-stop solution, and we wouldn't been able to do a lot of the things that we do at Thinklyn without SKJ Jira. So again, of course, thank you and your team. A lot of these developments that we've been doing, when it comes to AI products, it really kind of, again, flows back to the client. It flows back to the user, the student, the people that we're trying to talk to, that have been following this podcast. Is we want to scale your impact if you have a business. We also want to help you start thinking about that. If you have a great idea, if you have value out there, we want you to be able to go ahead and build that idea. Go start your new business. Go start your startup. And I guess I'll end this on Jerry. I'll give you the last word on this because, like I've been saying, we have a lot of things at play here. For the people that are listening to this, yes, the Thinklyn Publishing House has been publishing works. And I think that's going to really flow into the curriculum at TIL Academy and give people really fundamental, real, practical, not just knowledge, which knowledge is key, knowledge is power, but also the practical, how do you execute that? How do you actually go from that knowledge to executing and building that product? How do you go from that knowledge to actually starting your business, setting up your LLC or your corporation? How do you actually go from knowledge to figuring out on the marketplace and doing your research, your analysis, what it's telling you and what's going to work, what's not going to work, and how do you test those products? There's a lot here, and I think we've built a good. Trying to show the people that are watching this that it can be done as we're doing it in real time now. But I think that's very important to the audience to understand. And again, please reach out to thinklyn.com. Please go to our team. Our team will get back to you if you're interested in any of this stuff because we are doing it in real time right now, and we're really excited to again help people be able to do that.
Listen, Mac, thanks. This has been this one of the things when we started this, when you started this publishing and reached out to us and said, gee, and by the way, just a background, guys, real quick. I mean, he's been attending a lot of meetings, and lawyers always talk about war stories, and of course, over here we said, gee, you guys really should be teaching this stuff. And then we had a very robust intern program. It's the very first summer we didn't train an intern, and the goal was because we took a tone that you presented. You said there's a lot of people out there who need this, not just your one or two
Mhm.
interns that you train every summer. And we've trained. We worked really hard with our colleagues, our friends, Sabi and Pankesh, and we in training in India, young lawyers there who work on projects here in the United States. I think the thing that is really going to be sort of key on the TIL Academy is the theme of Thinklyn, democratize, get this out to the public. That's why
Mhm.
it's great that you're saying, hey, I got a publishing house, but now you're democratizing that information from the likes of Sabi Ghosh and Gerard McCabe and Pankaj Jain and myself. I think the very first thing you need to do when you look into the TIL Academy, when you look into these books, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to start something. What's that going to be, Mac?
Go start your startup. And I think, folks, we're trying to give you all the tools to be able to go start your startup. It's not easy. We know it. That's why we're building the Thinklyn Publishing House to give you all that knowledge. That's why we're building TIL Academy so you have the practical execution plan and how to actually do that. We are working with SKJ Juris. We're building all these content pipelines so people can see your product, so you can market your product. We're building the cadences so you are able to, again, continue marketing, continuing those social and marketing campaigns to get more eyes on your product so your business, your startup can be more successful. So, yes, go start your startup, everyone, and we will see you all next week.